Evening folks, and continuing on with this kind of vlog type thing that I'm doing. Some stories I was thinking about the other day. I've just been recording some more Containment Breach. Now I'm not very good at horror games. I'm really not. I like to certainly try and have a go at them, but I'm too much of a coward, to be quite honest with you. Now, what I have done, as I said, I've recorded some more Containment Breach. I got thinking of kind of real life scary experiences. God, the reflection on my glasses is ridiculous, man. Regardless. Anyway, folks, yeah, I got thinking of some sort of real life scary experiences that I've had, and I want to talk about them because I don't think I've really shared them with you before, and you might get a kick out of it. I don't know. I've had two, and that was four. I did that. I've had two supernatural experiences in my life. Now, I'm not religious at all. And a lot of people seem to tie supernatural in with religious things. I don't know where I stand on it, because I know what I saw, and it was scary. The first time, I'm getting shivers just thinking about it, and right, okay. The first time I was probably about 8 at the time, maybe 10 maximum, and I was staying down in a hotel in Norwich. I was staying there with my best friend and my mum. She took us on holiday, and we were staying in a hotel that was a friend of my mum's that he owned and ran. Now, it was a very nice hotel, you know, in a really good holiday. But the first night, when funnily enough, my friend was called Richard, we stayed in our room. My mum had her own room, and we stayed in the room next door. Now, in the day, that room was fine. I'm getting a shiver just thinking about it. On a night, from sort of 8, 9 o'clock onwards, that room got scary, in the sense of, I still can't explain it to this day. It was as if that room didn't want you to be there. I know that sounds dramatic, and I know that sounds really stupid in a sense, but that room had a horrible, horrible vibe to it in the darkness and in the night. As I say, it was perfectly fine during the day, but at night, oof, it was not a nice room to be in. Now, I can only confirm part of this because I didn't physically see anything in that room. I certainly felt it, but I didn't see anything. I'm just getting shivers. Oof. Whenever I get slightly scared, my eyes start to water, and my eyes are watering now. That's the really weird thing about me. When I'm scared, my eyes water. My friend was asleep in his bed across the room, and I was like here with a gap in between. He's told me, and he's got no reason to lie, and I'm sure if I still was in touch with him, he'd confirm this story, but I lost contact years ago. He said to me that he woke up in the night, I was fast asleep, and all he said was there was something sort of at the bottom of my bed. It was moving, and it was like a humanoid figure. And as soon as he sort of looked at it directly into where its face would be, it just faded. It just sort of vanished in a split second. I can't comment whether that's true or not. It was one of those things where I certainly felt a horrible presence in that room. I only actually spoke to the hotel owner the next morning. We didn't sleep in that room again. We actually slept on my mum's floor for the next few nights. when we spoke to the hotel owner the next day, he told us that that floor that we were on was the servants' quarters back in the day. Now, again, I don't know whether that meant anything, whether something horrible happened up there, or I don't know. On the opposite side of it, I've walked into my old English tutor's house. Anne, she's a legend, amazing woman. I love Anne to bits. She's quite old now. She's really old now, like in her 80s, I think, or something. But she's an amazing woman, and she taught me so much when I was going through high school. She's a really philosophical lady, but as much as she's very religious, she's, you know, we didn't agree on the religious side of things, but she's an amazing lady. She really is. But either way, I was mentioning Anne because on the opposite side of the coin, her house felt totally different. Her house had that aura of welcoming, and that's really weird to say, but it's the truth. It had a real welcoming atmosphere, and it could just be atmosphere. I'm not saying it was definitely something supernatural in this hotel room, but we all felt it and sensed it, and then Richard saw something. I didn't see anything that time. I didn't. So that was my first supernatural experience. My second was when I used to work at Leeds Grand Theatre. Loved that job. I was what's known as a front of house assistant. That means that I used to work on the bars, I used to sell ice cream, I used to show people to the seats. That was it, really. That was the main part of the job. I loved that job. Loved that job. It was one of my favourite jobs I've ever had. Now, I used to usually work, if you can imagine a theatre, there's sort of the stalls, the dress circle, the upper circle, and then the balcony, and then the upper balcony in some circumstances. Now, I usually used to work on the balcony, and it was usually one of the quieter levels, to be honest, the balcony, because people wanted the lower levels so they could see better. Now, that meant that, you know, cheekily, now and again, I could go in and watch the show if there was no work to do. But the balcony was quite eerie late on in the night. If you can imagine, the performance would finish at 10 o'clock, let's say, for an example. I used to have to lock it up and close stuff down up there, and I was on my own for ages. I know there's people within the actual seats, but on the outside bit, there was, just me, really. Anyway, this one particular night, it was very busy, and that was kind of a rare thing for the balcony. And I was sitting around with about 3 of my friends I was working on the doors that night, and they were working in the bar. So I was sitting there. If you can imagine, I was here against a wall with the chair where this chair is, and my 2 friends were sitting here and here, right opposite me. Now behind them, to this side, there was a door that led down to it was like a kind of an inner stairway where all the front of house staff could access to go get ice creams, extra beer, whatever they needed for the actual the bars and the ice cream parts and stuff, and only we could have access to that. Now, that door was left open quite a lot, only when we weren't selling, so it was like we kept them open so we could get to different levels quickly, and when you shut them they were really loud, and we didn't want to disturb the performance. So one particular time I was sitting here and I was looking directly at the door, and, I wasn't really thinking much about it. I was absent-mindedly chatting to my mates, and out of nowhere I suddenly started noticing that there was something in the silhouette of because if you imagine, the light was coming from the corridor and the stairs, and then there was the door, and suddenly I started to realise there was something or someone. I immediately thought it was someone to start off with, who was coming up the stairs, because I could see that the light was darkening, and I thought, what the hell's, that's just a person, but there shouldn't be anybody else on this floor. So anyways, I didn't really think much of it. I just kept talking to my mates. Then suddenly, I happened to look over, and whether it was, I know what I saw. I happened to look over, and all I can say was that as the door was kind of half closed, I could see a figure like this, or half of a person's body and half of his face, or her face. And it was a person, folks. I'm not trying to make it dramatic. That was a person I saw. Now it was all they were kind of shaded, if you know what I mean. It was all like a silhouette, so I couldn't really make it out. But I'm convinced that was a person or something. It was so weird because I saw it, and it wasn't a person, like it wasn't one of us. It was something that it made me freaking jump, because as soon as I looked at it, and I'm not saying I was particularly I wasn't terrified, it made me jump, but as soon as I looked at it, whatever it was, and we are talking, I mean, both these experiences were like, about 10 and 15 years ago, something like that. And as I looked at it, it almost seemed to solidify for a moment, and then the door that was propped open suddenly just went bang, with the loudest bang you freaking heard ever. And we all jumped out of our skins, and we looked behind, and it had shut so hard, and there was nothing logical that could have made that door do that. And I said, oh my god, I just saw somebody, I'm sure I did. Anyway, when I went down, we reopened that door, I went and actually looked at the different levels below me, like on the upper circle, the dress circle and things, and to be honest with you, it couldn't have been anybody else, because they'd all locked up for the night, meaning that no one could access that inner stairway. We were the last level to lock up, because you can imagine the balcony is right up at the top, so it takes the longest for all the theatre goers to get down to the bottom. Now folks, I don't know what that was. I'm pretty convinced it was something supernatural, but there's just two weird experiences that I've had, really. And I got thinking about them because I scare myself a lot with trying to play Containment Breach and things, and I was actually trying to think of real supernatural experiences. I can't comment whether they were true or not, but I've scared myself a little bit now tonight. I think I'm going to go probably watch something very light and jovial to get me back out of being slightly scared. So that was the Necroscope. Sleep tight.